Welcome to the GCA conference this year. You are one of the keynote speakers today. Can you maybe just sum up what you talked about for our viewers?
Today I talked about how governments around the world can leverage social media, digital media for the development of their nations instead of perceiving it as a threat to their democracy. So that was the focus of my talk today.
What were the sort of the main points you wanted the audience to take with them?
Back in India, the government at the center is kind of engaging various social media platforms pretty well, like Facebook, like Twitter. They're doing pretty successfully. So they are working with these social media channels in communicating with the citizens. And also, I'm sure they're working back, trying to take the feedback and from the citizens. So I've been highlighting some examples in my presentation, which talks about not only government in India, but I think governments around the world can do this pretty well. So it's easy to think Facebook or any other social media is a big risk to democracy, but it's important to see the positive side of it. Like internet, how it was a huge risk about 20-25 years back for every common man. Today we have digested internet so easily. It's a part of our life. But 20 years ago it was risky. It was seen as a big risk for the children, for the society. But today it isn't. So it's the same with the social media. It's maturing. We need to see the positive side of it, use the good things about it, and of course do our big efforts to regulate and check the bad things out of social media. But I think that will happen over a period of time.
So you started your presentation with a question towards the audience, and you asked them whether they think it's good when government uses social media, and a few people raised their hands to signalize that they are not okay with the government using social media. How do you rate that? What do you think the people are afraid of?
Yeah, so it's interesting. My first question was, do you think government should control social media? They said no. Then I asked them, should government use the social media for their communication purposes? Say yes. So my question, and then I also asked them, how many of you even have Facebook accounts? Some of them raised hands. So it was interesting to understand how many of them feel that social media can be used by the governments, but it should not be controlled. So it's about freedom of expression, democracy, freedom of speech, which is something common around the world. What is more interesting is that people feel that the control of Facebook is not a good idea. But that was just to gather the initial understanding about what should government do about social media. Should they regulate, or should they control, or should they let it free of anything?
But some people also said they don't want government to use social media themselves. What do you think? Why did these people say that?
At the bottom of everything, it's freedom of expression, freedom of speech. Nobody likes controlled media or controlled expression in a democracy. So it's quite natural for people to react to a question like that. Do you like governments to intervene and regulate or control? Your natural replies or reaction would be, no, we don't want that. But when you talk about them, it's important to educate, regulate, kind of mature the social media channel. Then I think they understand it a bit better and say, okay, yes, that's regulated, because there's also risks of social media. So if government doesn't take control of it, it affects the citizens. So governments have to do it. Nobody else can do it. So governments have to intervene, step inside and regulate and make it secure safe and easy for its own citizens. So from that perspective, I think the citizens agree that yes, should be a moderate control but not excessive control.
We all know there are some countries who ban certain social media pages. How do you personally see the future in these countries? Do you think that they are going to give in, maybe also to other countries?
If you see already some social media revolutions have happened in a couple of countries, which has even thrown out governments out of powers. I'm not saying social media did it, but it definitely was a catalyst in revolutions that have happened recently in Tunisia, Egypt, and things like that. So, using social media to create revolutions or rebel against democratically elected government is not the best way to look at it. But then again, it's freedom of expression. If some governments going forward they do think about regulating this or controlling this because it's a risk to democracy, I think it's fair, because you cannot have flash mobs, you cannot have other kinds of protests turning violent, which would be a risk to democracy. So you have a right to protest for peaceful protest, but you can't get violent and throughout a democratically elected government, it be it anywhere in any part of the world. So I don't think that's smart, because there is no end to it. So you can do it, somebody else can do it to you as well. So it's a chain reaction, which has to be avoided. So you have a government today, somebody gets together and throws it out, and tomorrow those people get together and throw you out, and it's happening in Egypt or any other places. So I think a certain level of I would rather say educated social media is a big boon. It's a big boon. Whether how you educate the users of social media and how you use it for the benefit of the society is up to the government. It's government's responsibility now. It's no more citizen responsibility. They started it, but it's responsibility of the governments to facilitate social media interactions for the good of the society.
Now, we are here at the Global Communication Association conference organized by students. What are your impressions of the conference so far? Are you enjoying your time here?
Yeah, so I arrived a few days before to make a little bit of holiday, and then I'm here for 2 days of the conference. Actually, it's the third day, including the first day pre-conference party. So this is day 3, and I'm completely happy or amazed with the kind of efforts the students of the university, Stuttgart University, have put in to this whole thing, and all done by themselves, of course, through effective leadership. I think it's an amazing job and great achievement. You must take the congratulations of all the participants in this particular conference. So it's a great job done. Keep it up.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time, and enjoy the rest of the conference.
Yeah, thank you so much.